Boy, do I have a story for you. But first, welcome to 3D Printing Nerd Studios, proudly powered by PCBWay. 8% off, link in the description, and you know what to do. And you know what I'm on? I'm on a really sweet knee scooter.
That's rad.
I've hurt myself. It all began Super Bowl Sunday. I went outside to play some catch with my son, and then all of a sudden my world changed because I felt this ripping in my foot. I was able to visit some medical professionals, and an ultrasound was done of my foot, and it was determined that I had what was called a hypoechoic thickening of the medial band of the plantar fascia at the calcaneal origin. The medial band of the plantar fascia, that is that band that's on the bottom of your foot and at the calcaneal origin. So where that band connects to your heel bone, that's where most of the swelling and inflammation and the thickening was. The doctor said that usual causes of this are from your Achilles tendon being too tight. The Achilles tendon is that thing on the back of your foot that kind of goes up your leg. Almost kind of like a 3D printer. If you tighten your Y-axis belt too tight, things don't work. My Achilles is my Y-axis belt, and apparently it was too tight. So the podiatrist said, you need to stretch your Achilles tendon 3 times a day. And there's things that you can get over at Amazon, these devices that you step on, and it'll stretch your Achilles tendon.
The Calf Stretcher by Vive utilizes a rocking design to maximize your stretching range.
Wait a minute. I looked at what was presented on Amazon, and I was like, I could probably 3D print this. So I went over to Printables, and sure enough, that model was there. And I started the print, and it's done right there. And this gives me 2 really cool opportunities. I get to give you some information about staying healthy, and 2, we get to talk about the Prusa Core 1L and some of my initial thoughts on it. Let's go get the print. So this is it. This is the device. This is the print that I found on Printables, an actual medical device that I printed on a home 3D printer. That's pretty cool. I love living in the future.
Great Scott.
How it works is pretty simple. You place your foot in a shoe right here, and then you step down. That tends to angle your foot up, but then also with your legs straight, you get this really nice stretch along your Achilles tendon. The print was done in ASA. It should be able to hold my body weight. But before we test it, why don't we use this as an opportunity to get some first impressions about the Prusa Core 1L, and then we'll try it out. The Core 1L I got some time ago. I got it out of the box. It was packed as well as it could be. Prusa printers are typically packed incredibly well. I was able to get it up and running and printing pretty quickly. The default print that I started on it was actually, let me get it for you. It was this print. This was the first print that I did on the Core 1L, and I think it turned out marvelous. It's in a rainbow filament, as you can tell, and it's PLA, so the ports came off easy. When Bobby Duke was in town, he actually put this on as well, and I think it actually fits my large head. Let's see if I... Huh? Prints on the Core 1L have been decent. I've run some things through it that have been fun. I don't know if you can see it down there, but the purple is for a deposition sound subwoofer. You know, they've done the speakers. I've got the subwoofer. That's coming up soon. Initial impressions on the Core 1L are that, well, let's use this print as an example. So this was printed in ASA material. ASA being UV stable, similar to ABS in mechanical properties. I thought it would be good to be able to hold my weight on it, but also I've never printed ASA in this machine before, so I thought it was a good test. The first thing I noticed when printing ASA is it has to heat the chamber to a certain temperature. The Prusa profiles in Prusa Slicer say there's a temperature it needs to hit, and then it'll keep going to that temperature until you're good. I just adjusted everything to be able to get to the right temperature before starting printing, and it took 25 minutes to get the chamber to the temperature.
What are you waiting for, huh?
So the Core 1L, it doesn't have active chamber heating. The way that the Core 1L heats the chamber is with the latent heat from the heat bed. There's 2 fans underneath that blow the heat from the heat bed. So it's not really actively heated, it's more actively heat managed. Your chamber heat is tied to your bed temperature, and that can be difficult because if you want your chamber to be a certain temperature, but you don't want your bed to be 110 degrees or whatever, there's some play that goes around there. I think the Core 1L is missing the mark on chamber heat, and I think that Prusa should have looked at including a chamber heater. I know that BQ has a chamber heater solution. I'd love to try it in the Core 1L. I think it would make it a better machine. The second thing that I want to talk about regarding this print specifically is the time-lapse not working. For the time-lapse, I was relying on the buddy camera within the Core 1L, and it contains a micro SD card. Within Prusa Connect, you flip a little switch, and that tells the camera to do a time-lapse every 5, 10, 15 seconds, whatever you want to configure. Once the print is done, you take the camera out, you take the SD card out, you put it in your laptop, and then you look at the thousands of JPEG images that represent each frame that it took for the time lapse. The camera doesn't automatically compile things into a footage file. You have to do that in your video editor. It's quite a clunky workflow, especially for a machine that was released in 2025. But for this, my time-lapse failed because Prusa Connect kept turning off the switch. So I would turn time-lapse on and it would turn it off. I don't know what was going on. I emailed Prusa support and they said I need to low-level format my SD card. I went to the link that they gave me in the email, but it had a bunch of ads on the page. I was on my phone. It didn't look reputable, so I was going to investigate that earlier. I do have time-lapse files on the SD card. It's funny, it ran the time-lapse while I was heating the chamber for this, but that's it. The Core 1L, as far as time-lapse and camera goes, I think is kind of missing the mark. Print quality on the ASA was good. I did notice some ghosting on the G, and the Core 1 and the Core 1L have a way of adjusting belt tension where they vary the frequency of the lights in order to show the belts as they vibrate. For me, I couldn't see it. I tried tightening the belts and it wouldn't be at the right hertz that it was expecting. The Core 1L does have a built-in accelerometer in the head, so it can do input shaping calculations. I may just need to run it again, or maybe just turn off the lights when I'm doing the belt adjustments. But for now, it's not terrible. Like, this still looks good. And if we're talking about a functional print, it doesn't really matter. Like, the time-lapse didn't work and there's a little bit of ghosting, but if this is built to stretch my Achilles heel, my Achilles tendon doesn't care if there's ghosting. That's kind of my experience with the Core 1L so far. If you have any other questions on it, let me know. But I think for now, what we should do is try this out and see if this actually stretches my Achilles tendon. So now you just rotate it back. How cool is that? We used a 3D printer to print something that I can use to make my Achilles tendon better and to maintain health of my feet and my legs and just, I don't know, I love living in the future, don't you? I put the link down in the description. It's a really fun print. It'll print overnight. I did a couple different perimeters, not a lot of infill. You should give this a print. It's kind of cool. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Don't forget to hug each other more, fight for a cause you believe in, print all the practical things, and as always, high five.